So for the second year in a row, every single athlete in World's Strongest Man did the same events in the heats. But how did they compare as a whole competition? Auntie Liz, this happened last year. We decided we would check out what it would have been like. It was a whole competition. We're going to do the same again this year.
Yeah, so first off, thank you so much to everyone who has put in this work so I didn't have to. I've had like 10 people send me links and I thought this one was the prettiest, so this is what I went with. But thank you so much to everyone. And this one is from Hamish, so thank you for Hamish.
So this would be all 30 athletes going head to head. Now, obviously, as the competition goes on, it's hard. You know, there's certain times where athletes may have held back in the heat, so it's not perfect.
No, it's very much just for fun because it doesn't take into consideration gamemanship. So, for example, in Alexei Novikov's group in Group 2, he went last on the deadlift and he only needed 6 reps to win the deadlift there. So it's hard to say that Alexei was one of the worst deadlifters, for example.
But one thing you can look at is the first few events, really, because especially at the loading, that's literally everyone just going flat out.
Yes.
And obviously as the competition goes on, some people can. It was hard this year because a lot of those groups were tight, so it is probably a little bit more accurate than, say, the year before.
Yes, I think so, yeah.
But, probably Novikov, the only guy that maybe dropped down more than you would have expected.
Yeah, but let's have a look anyway and get it up on the screen. So as you can see, all of the athletes are on the left, all of the events that they did are up on the top, and we've got a ranking next to their result to say how they would have done against everyone, all 30 athletes, if they were competing together. Theoretically, taking out, you know, the reasons that we mentioned.
Sure.
So the first thing that massively jumps out to me, when you look on the left-hand column and at the top 10 athletes there, Bobby Thompson, who did not make the final, is very happily nestled in 5th place out of 30.
You say happily, he's not going to be happy because he's not in the final. It shows how strong group number 1 was in that 3 athletes from group number 1 are top 5 when you compare them across every single heat.
Absolutely, and also 2 there from group 3, and we did say those were the 2 tough groups. And group 3 ended up not being as tough as we thought because obviously Mateusz wasn't in the shape that we hoped he would be.
Mateusz wasn't in the shape, but the rest of them really battled through.
They really did.
It was an exciting group to watch. Mitch Hooper was unbelievable. But yeah, when you've got Pavlo Kordiaka, Tom Stoltman in 3rd overall, and Bobby Thompson in 5th, and one of those guys wasn't in the final, that's heartbreaking.
So the guys that just missed out on the top 10 on this are also from groups 1 and 3. So you've got Ivor Schmutzes there in 11th place in group 3, and Konstantin Janasha in group 1. And I have to feel bad for Konstantin because this is the best performance he's had probably in the last 12 months. But unfortunately in that group it wasn't enough.
And that's one of the down draws of not doing so well in some competitions over the last few years. He isn't then going in as a seeded kind of athlete or a bigger name that's going to be put into like a better group. But it was good to see Konstantin performing again more than anything.
So unlike last year, 9 of the 10 finalists are in the top 10. Last year it was a bit messier, wasn't it? And all over the place. But the only guy who was actually in the final who wasn't in the top 10 here was Luke Stoltman. But I guess when you take into consideration gamemanship and everything else, you only do what you have to do in your group, not to beat all 30 guys.
You know, your first target is to beat the people in your group.
Yeah.
But yeah, Luke is the only athlete that wasn't in the top 10 if it was an overall competition.
And then you can see, as we look across the groups, we've got gold, silver and bronze for the winners of each event and their everyone ranking, if you like, for those events. So in the loading, Pavlo Kordiaka was the fastest out of everyone, Mitch Hooper was 2nd and Tom Stoltman was 3rd. And the deadlift, with there being no split times, it's just a ton of draws, isn't it?
So we had 4 athletes that all managed to do 8 repetitions, 3 of which are in the final. The only other athlete that did 8 was Rauno Hingler.
Yeah, and do you know what? It's been pointed out to us. If Rauno had done 1 less on the deadlift, Brian Shaw would have won the group and Rauno and Jacko would have been against each other in the stone-off.
Wow. Maybe Rauno's looking back at that now thinking, why did I try and win the deadlift?
No, he won't be.
So then we move on to the log lift, and the winner of the log would have been Thomas Evans. Amazing performance by Thomas Evans on that log ladder. 2nd place would have been Trey Mitchell. He loves a log. He's performed exceptionally well on all types of logs in the last few years. And 3rd place would have been Mitch Hooper, who is making big progress on his log pressing. The Conan Circle was the 4th event, and it was all about Alexei Novikov on this one. His distance on this was unbelievable. Well ahead of anyone else in any group.
Second on it was Pavlo Cordiaca, who recently at Europe's Strongest Man broke the Giants Live record on their kit. So, oh, and do you know what was really interesting with Alexei, which was also pointed out? His distance on this equipment was exactly the same as it was in Giants Live, 897.
Maybe it doesn't matter what the weight is, that's the distance he goes.
Yeah.
And an unbelievable performance from Paro Dwyer, who really didn't have the best competition, but on this event he was third overall out of everyone, which is fantastic, especially when you look how tough his group was.
Yeah. So Mateusz Kiliaszkowski there, first place overall out of everyone on the kettlebell throw, with Trey Mitchell in second and Brian Shaw in third, which was interesting. I thought Brian would be the best out of everyone on that one.
I did as well, and it was just good to see Kiliaszkowski get some, recognition, I guess, and a little bit of confidence. He's not had the best competition, but to be the best on an event on such a bad performance for him. I hate saying that, but it was not the Kiliaszkowski that we're used to.
No.
The good thing is he's through the competition. He's not picked up any injuries. The injuries that he had going into the competition weren't anything major.
No.
He can go and get himself fit and ready for other contests this year.
So there are 2 athletes that were in the top 3 out of all 30. 3 times. I know that's a confusing thing to say. But Mitch Hooper, he got a second place, a first place, and a third place. And Trey Mitchell got a first, a second, and a second. Obviously, Mitch is higher up because on the 2 where he wasn't in the top 3, he placed better overall.
Yeah, he would have been 6th and 4th, whereas Trey would have been 20th and 20th.
Yes. Also, interestingly, in Group 5, 3 of them were in the bottom 5.
So you've got 3 athletes from one group in the bottom 5 and 3 athletes from Group 1 in the top 5.
Yeah.
So interestingly, if we take the kettlebell toss out, as some athletes didn't push so hard on this one, such as Alexei Novikov.
Yeah.
So if it was a competition with 4 events, how would the standings have been?
So that pushes Alexei higher up. So as you said, Alexei, he only had to throw 1 kettlebell, and that's exactly what he did. So, but in doing that, obviously, he drops down the rankings in the overall 30. So if we disregard that final event, then Alexei's higher up. He's in 4th. Bobby Thompson's still in 5th place there, though. And then, interestingly, Rauno sneaks into the top 10 also, which was really his downfall overall in the competition.
Absolutely. Brian Shaw would have been outside the top 10 if that was the case. But this is all speculation, a little bit of fun.
It's all hearsay.
One of the toughest things with World's Strongest Man is it really is 2 separate competitions. The athletes have the heats, and that is one competition to get to the final. Then they've got to start from scratch, and it's a whole new set of events for the final. So things could be completely different despite what this top or this 30 athlete mix-up looks like. Hope you enjoyed the video, guys. Just for a bit of fun, let us know your thoughts about it. Are you as gutted as we are for Bobby Thompson? I spoke to him last night. He genuinely is gutted. What a tough group that was. Anyway, guys, thank you once again for watching. Like, share, and subscribe to the channel, and we'll catch you guys next time.